problem. So everything looks extremely colorful. Looking in your studio, it's
Yeah, I'm
very
pretty
bright.
bright.
It's very bright, vibrant, colorful, and I feel like I can see your personality coming through. That's great.
Do you feel that? Seriously, that's an honest question. You actually like, I'm asking you as an input, you know what I'm saying? Because people say things about my work and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I can't keep a straight face. I'm always laughing, so maybe that has something to do with people always use the word joyful when they see my work. And I guess I'm not always sure how to take that, but I can see where a lot of bright colors might have that impact.
So to answer your question, yes, I do mean that. It's very, your personality is very positive, joyful, colorful, happy, whimsical. And that's what I'm seeing in your paintings. Like it's
Nice.
very, so that's really cool.
I appreciate that.
That's what I think. Well, let's talk about your paintings.
All right.
All the ones that I think it's everything that I'm looking at.
There's
As you
one at
know,
home. Yeah.
okay, so why don't you just get going? Why don't you just point to which one so that people know and we can get things started?
Okay. Uh, well, the first one I was going to talk about was, I think, the first one I started uh, painting after my little show last year. And it's the one that's actually at my house. Is that okay? It's the ferns
Sure.
with orange background. So when I had a, as you know, a little show at a little venue last year, late last year, and since last year when I started painting full time, I've been basically doing a lot of experimenting, like with just everything, paints, different mediums, different sizes, different foundations, and at some point close to near where that little show was, I ended up kind of doing some new work that I think resembled organic, maybe floral kind of shapes. People said different things. Maybe it was phallic. I don't know. To me, it was more floral than anything. But I think right after that show, I wanted to do work on some bigger pieces. And so this piece, sort of a continuation of what I had been working on and what a lot of people actually coincidentally really liked about my work last year. So this piece is one that, basically is just going bigger and trying to work on color and shapes, which is what I'm all about, color and shapes. It's not done. Everything here I'm going to be showing you is a work in progress. So
Okay.
the next piece is this guy. I called it Hard Edge to You.
Okay.
This is also a work in progress. This is experimenting with a little bit of figurative. I ended up turning it upside down recently, just to see if I get a different perspective on it. I'm experimenting with using, tape to block off paint that I'm airbrushing onto the canvas.
Yeah.
I think as I've explained to you before, all of the work that I've been doing for the most part has been intuitive in the sense that I don't know, I might get inspired by something and start something based on an inspiration, start a piece based on an inspiration, but then I just end up kind of winging it, kind of waiting for something that I put down to inform me of what I should do, for the next step. So that's
Okay.
what's going on with this. And to me, it's the least appealing, but for some reason, there's a lot of people that have commented that kind of like it so far. But anyways, to me, it's I'm not sure where it's going at all. So,
Well, I'm going to give you my opinion. I love this.
so you're another person who likes to sell the hard edge. This guy.
Yeah, the well, there's a lot about it that I like. I like the airbrush technique. I like the hard lines, and I love your
Right.
use of color and the shapes. I mean, the whole thing. I really like it.
A lot going on. It started out being a yeah. I thought I tried. I initially started out being like a sort of an abstract face, the other side around, and then I ended up working on this guy, this other guy, that kind of manga looking figure back there, and I like the way that the a face sort of appeared, and so I started doing a face on this guy too, and I wasn't really happy with it. I've got a close painter friend who does a lot of hard edge work, and he sort of inspired me to try doing some hard edge stuff. So I've had an airbrush for a while that I rarely use, so I started experimenting with it.
Nice.
So that's the story with that. I appreciate the compliments. Um, the next piece would be the one behind me. Uh, it really started out, I think another one that started out as what I thought was an abstract floral. I ended up turning it upside down. Um, to me, I don't know if you see it, it became like a face. And there's some hair there. I don't know if you can tell. Um, and the shape that sort of came into my mind that, well, you know, informed me while I was working on it was that what appears to be hopefully it appears to be like a speech bubble, like a talk bubble from a comic or something like that. So I don't know where that's going. We'll see.
A gray speech bubble, a neutral
Yes.
speech bubble,
What's that? What's that?
a neutral space
Yeah,
speech bubble.
it is
So you
neutral.
get all this color, and then the
Yes.
speech is like neutral.
Yes, and I think it was more about less about what he might be trying to say or she, and more about just the shape and the color to go along with what's going on there. And in the meantime, you know, as I'm working and I feel like I need to change things up, I'll just do something just to cover it up to see what it looks like, and you know, work from there. So that's what's
Good,
happening with that.
nice.
And I've always been. I haven't. I mean, I shouldn't say I'm not a manga fan. I'm only bringing up manga because to me it sort of looked like a manga figure. But there's a lot of there are numerous Japanese artists that I really like their work. So I felt like it triggered something after I did it that hey, this kind of looks like a little manga character. Anyway, so the last one would be well, everyone who's seen it says it looks like female breasts,
I see a
and
breast.
you're not the only one.
It's the first thing I
And
see.
I guess I should have expected it, but if you really look
It's
at it,
not a bad thing, but
no,
I'm
I
just
know,
saying
right?
that's what I see.
Uh, yeah, that's all. It's just more experimentation, trying to work larger, um, which I'm enjoying. You know, just waiting for something to trigger me to continue with whatever the next step is. So I've thought about whether, you know, consciously whether I should go figurative with that one, or if I'm just continuing in the same direction. I'll probably continue in the same direction, but who knows? Like a week from now, I could come back to this and change it up 100%.
We're in this situation now where everyone is like stuck at home and etc. People are working from home. As artists, that's kind of a little bit of business as usual for us because we're used to working in a solitary way. How has this situation affected you and your art?
I was back in February, mid-February. I came down with flu. I think I may have had COVID or something like that. But it felt like something. Like I came down with something that felt like maybe there was some kind of pneumonia in my lungs. I don't know. But I right after I was kind of recovered and the fever went down and all that, I was able to come back here, keep painting. So this would have been, I don't know, early March or something like that. But then right before the lockdowns, I realized like this cough wasn't going away. Like it was just lingering. It was like in my lungs. And I'm like, you know what? I need to maybe stay home for a couple weeks. So while that was going on and I was staying home relaxing, um, the lockdown happened, and for whatever reason, I had some difficulty getting motivated to paint. Uh, I I think I could have come here to the studio because I'm one of three like people like you know what I mean, like three, there's just three businesses here, you could say, um, and they weren't here very much because of the lockdown. But I had trouble getting motivated to even pick up a pen for some time. I did do some digital work on the iPad, but anyways, it took till several weeks, just a few weeks ago maybe, to really feel more motivated to do stuff. So I love it, to be honest with you. I mean, to answer your question, I love the fact that there's no traffic and I can come to the studio without issue. I've set up some on my dining table a bunch of art supplies, that I haven't used in a long time, like dry materials, some oil pastels, some like easy paint like watercolor, things that I don't have to be too concerned about ruining my brushes or anything like that. So I mean, just simple, small. So now I'm motivated now. It took me a while to get to this point for some reason. I don't know exactly what it was, but now I'm good. How has it changed my art? At home with the watercolors, I've been doing some like portraits, like like painting some little watercolor portraits and stuff like that. I don't know where that's coming from, but there's always I'm always conflicted internally about like everything. So I on one hand, I love abstract art, love it. I mean, it really has an impact on me, and um, but so does representational art, figurative art. Like when I went to go see your show, or when you go see a fine, you know, impressionist work, or just anything. It's just I love it all. So I guess I'm just I feel conflicted about where I should go next sometimes, because at home I'm kind of got to get into a frame of mind of working figuratively, and then coming here, it's at least in the meantime a whole different story.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know that anything's changed too much, except maybe a little bit more concern about what might happen with the art world, selling things, trying to get by.
Sure. I'm hearing that a lot.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Well, thank you very much for checking in with
like
me,
on
Marc.
Instagram, people are. Oh, yeah.
Go ahead. You were saying about Instagram people?
Yeah. Oh, I was just going to say that, I do see that there are, it seems like a lot of people who I'm following who are doing great with like sales, and, they're using that artist pledge hashtag that was, drummed up by an artist, I think in the UK. But I mean, it seems like some people are doing good. I mean, they're pushing their work, they're selling stuff. So it's not impossible to get your work out there, get exposed, get some things sold so you can buy more paint and make more paintings, etc.
Well, I have sold the most paintings ever during all of this.
Awesome. That's great. That's awesome.
I haven't really been producing much. I just started painting again. I'm working on a new series.
Awesome.
I think you've probably seen, but I've been, working on, promoting and marketing and promotional stuff associated with all my inventory, and I've been selling a lot. So
good. That's awesome.
That's a positive thing. All right. Well, thank you, Marc. I appreciate you taking a little bit out of, it's Memorial Day when we're recording this. So it is a beautiful day out here in Chicago. But I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to check in with me and to share what you've been up to.
Thank you, Ricky. I sincerely appreciate the invitation, the opportunity. It's great. It's great what you're doing.